Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of Garo Vanishing Line, which is on episode 7. Now, this episode here was actually pretty cool, not too bad. It looks like to me a new antagonist besides the horrors have shown up, and we have to it it starts off pretty tense and then it ends up having some kind of tragic moment. So if anything else, let's go. We have to it that one horror eats a woman, and apparently there's someone called a knight, apparently, or you could say that his real epithet is revealed towards the end of this episode, which I'll reveal later. We have to it that there are some missing people, apparently, that went off to, went off to go talk about something called El Dorado. While Sophie decides to help Sword out, along with, Luke, to talk about certain information, they end up having to locate certain situations here and there of what's going on. Not to mention that the guy who was shown up at the beginning of this episode, which apparently the horror does not fear him because this guy might be working with the horror. He's been doing research on looking for one person in particular. Although we don't really know why he is after this person, it is eventually stood by later. We have to it that Luke and Sword managed to find a location thanks to Sophie's information, although Luke already found the information before Sword did. So Sword and Luke found the place where the people were kidnapped, apparently, and we also have to it that Sword realizes that Sophie's home is targeted, and apparently Sophie's sister, or the nun that she's taking shelter or refuge in, we have to it that she explains to everyone else that they were offered to go take a look at some kind of camping trip next month or so. Which apparently, Sophie realizes that something about happiness that she mentioned that Sophie's really concerned about. That same man who talked to that nun about, this happy place whatsoever, says that we have to get on the road right now. But apparently the nun decides not to, realizes something is wrong, and Sophie realizes that this guy is a horror, and the sister tells Sophie to get the children out of here, get them to Mr. Brooks, to the school. And we have to it that Sophie managed to get them there and calls the diner and tells them to help out because of freaking help out. And of course, we have to it that the horror actually had a hard time in his human form to take on the nun due to the fact that she's a martial artist, obviously. But eventually when he transformed into his hideous form, he was very close to killing the nun. But apparently Sophie tells him to stop, and before Sophie was about to get chopped up or become food for the horror, that person, who apparently was looking for one person in particular, which is Sophie, which is revealed towards the end of this episode, shows up, kills the horror, and also kills the nun to stop her witness, or maybe spread out what the hell is going on. Apparently that person tells Sophie that, Sophie Hernus, I am on orders by the king of El Dorado to take you to him. And we have to it that Sophie can only look on to despair after her sister, or the nun, was killed right in front of her eyes. Sword, on the other hand, arrived too late to save the nun, but managed to keep an eye on Sophie, at least. And we have to it that Luke ends up shooting a bullet at the person, and apparently Luke calls this guy the Dark Knight, apparently, which is to my shock. So it looks like to me he might be a Makai Knight, apparently, due to the fact that he's skilled with the sword, etc. And he has killed millions of people. He killed 2 thugs and an entire headquarters of police officers. Not to mention killing a horror effortlessly without having to try. And blocking a bullet that Luke shot at him. So it looks like to me he's not just some horror, I believe. I don't think he is, unless he's just a rogue knight, Makai Knight possibly, because that kind of skill is beyond belief. So until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. So I'm off for Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Doo-doo-doo!